Now, to be honest with you, this is something that you could probably find in most areas of the country for very good reason. I paid 99 cents for 28 blocks of this. They sell for about $30 shipped per block as well. Now, this is something that most people wouldn't even think of. It's under your radar for a very good reason. Hey, it's Don. Today I wanted to talk about a few items that are missed constantly by most people, and I'm going to show you a couple of reasons why. We're going to show you a few items that I routinely pick up here where I live for a very good reason. Now, this is plastilina, plasticine. There's a bunch of different names you can find for this. Chavant is another name that I've had material from for years around here. Now, what this is non-drying clay. Sulfur-free, this is the good stuff. This one has a Hobby Lobby sticker on it for $19.99. Official Hobby Lobby sticker. It was reduced to $4.99. It was at a place that I buy in bulk quite often to $1.99, and I went the one day a month that it's half off. So I got it for 99 cents a block, and I bought 28 of these. Here's just another one. I don't want to put that much weight on my glass counters over here, but these are 5 pounds basically, just under 5 pounds each, 5.5 pounds, excuse me. Now, plasticine is a type of clay you can do all sorts of things with. Around here, why I personally run into this is because of the automotive industry. Chavant is one of the most well-known brands, and they sell mostly to big businesses, and it looks pretty much just like this. It comes in different colors like this. And it was used, still is used, to make full-size models out of clay and wood and the whole works of what the car is going to look like. They've done it for decades, since this stuff was out there. Walt Disney Studios invented some of this clay, or used some specifically made for them to make maquettes and things in the studio as well. Model makers in general, I do models. This is actually a model that I personally carved out of Chavant clay, plasticina, the same basic thing, and you can get really nice details. This is one that I actually produced to make a model kit that I actually sell, and this is the type of detail you can get out of it. It's a trilobite. Obviously, there's a couple other pieces and a few other things that go to it. It's got a base and all, but that's what people use this stuff for. So I got 99 cents into 28 blocks, 28 bucks into these. One block, shipping included, will get me 30 bucks a pop. So that's a pretty good haul on something like this. Now, this clay, the clay that I made this out of, this trilobite, was probably 36 years old. You may think, oh man, that's pretty old. Is it going to still be any good? This stuff lasts forever. I've got a chunk. My first run into this type of material was probably almost 30 years ago, and I still have a chunk of it that was made in like 79. And it still works. It still does what it's supposed to. It doesn't dry like it says. Sulfur-free, no bad smell. It's safe, you know, pretty much to touch or do whatever you want with. This shows up around here. I could probably run into this a couple times a month if I hit the right sources or go to the right places every single month. In some cases, I could have bought a couple 100 pounds of this from some of the businesses around here. Now, places that may use this sort of thing, pottery facility, a facility that makes even like porcelain items, because they might make figurines out of this, because you can heat this up, you can smooth it out with a alcohol torch. I have alcohol torches. You just pretty much get real close to it and it smooths out the surface. That's why Disney uses it. A lot of the monster and sci-fi companies, you know, use some form of this. Monster clay, for an example. I use monster clay. It's probably in the same realm as this, but I can run into this all the time very, very cheap. It's not like FEMA or any of the other modern day clays that you can bake in the oven or anything else like that. This isn't made to bake. It won't harden no matter what you do to it. It'll just melt and turn into a big glob of gunk if you put it in the oven. So this is an underrated item. Again, I can sell these very, very easily for that $30, $29.99. Now, if this was a pound block, I can easily get $10, $9.99 plus shipping per pound block. Now, obviously, I can't cut this up because it wouldn't be sealed NOS stock like this. And you can tell this is even an older stock. The plastic has a little bit of discoloration from age to it. So these items like this type of clay, I've sold hundreds of pounds of it. I keep some of it because I do stuff with it as well, but I get so much of this, most resellers pass it right on by. Now there's some very good places where to get this sort of thing. I'm not gonna shout it out because then I'll be dinging into my own competition, but I'll probably give a little hint to those in my Patreon and YouTube membership pages though. This stuff is out there, and if you go to the right places, you can do extremely well. Now this is another item that I was able to buy in bulk from this very same place. Half off, it was $3.99 what's in this box, and then I got it for $1.99 at the half off day. Now I look for vintage tech. This is from 21, it's an iPhone, you know, anyway, it doesn't matter what it's from, but I look in every box. Even if you think it's one thing, you never know what's in the box. Now, these are hearing aid batteries, NOS. Now, these are pretty much complete other than maybe 1 or 2 packs. There's 197 different batteries in here with the majority of all of them, 95% of them, sealed in 5-count packs. Now, some of these types of batteries, similar to this, can get you 15 or 20 bucks or even more for one little pack like this. So I love the smaller batteries. They're usually in a box. They're usually in a bag. They're not just thrown on a shelf like some of the other types of stuff you'll run into because they're small and they're easily stolen. Now I have the $1.99 to this. Return on that investment on something like this, I should easily be able to get about 40 to 45 bucks back on all of these together. There's a few other items in here too that are related to hearing aids that are NOS, and that'll help me bring the value up to about 60, 65 bucks. But don't expect a fortune on everyone. I've run into those, some batteries, watch batteries, electronic batteries, even for some PC batteries in big bulk at some stores because they were going out of date in a couple months or whatever the case may be. And I've made some buku bucks on them. This isn't a huge profit, 40 or so bucks at the end of the day after fees and everything said and done, but I was already there. I was already making 20 bucks or so profit on these right off the bat. 28 of those. So, you know, right off the bat, it's a good haul with this sort of thing. Now, knowing when to go to certain places is always great. Obviously, if you know when the 50% days off are or when a specific place runs sales. Now, I don't go out to any of the seasonal events for price deals, but there's a few places out there that run 50% off certain times of the year, and that includes some antique markets, some secondhand, some bulk purchase places, some even some faith-based businesses that offer 50% off on certain items out there. So these are just a few items. I've got a bunch of haul items we got in this week. I'm big into tobacco-related items like some of these tobacco cards here, which I'm going to show out in a Patreon YouTube membership video as well. Thousands of dollars can be made from tobacco cards. We've got very little money into it. In a given week, we can pick up hundreds of items like this sort of thing right here with very little money into it, a very big return on the investment as well. It's these underrated items that usually give us the most profit across the board. Obviously, the high-end tobacco cards are great, but a lot of those could be long-tail items. We almost always, though, with purchases like this, or even the tobacco-related items, or even trade cards, postcards, I usually get all my money back and make a profit within a day or two of listing the first few items from that purchase. And I price everything when I'm going to buy it based on that. So if I'm going to buy something while I'm out in the wild, and I run into a big bulk lot of something, I first look through to make sure value-wise is there. If I see it quickly, I won't need to look through the entire lot if it's a big, huge lot of a couple thousand items, even a couple hundred items. If I don't see it after looking through most of it, chances are I'm going to pass on it. Things like this, though, are just a given. You just go and throw them in a cart and off you go. So anyway, hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea on some other items to look for. Batteries are hot. I've got a video just on vintage batteries, which I'll include a link down into the description box as well. We sell vintage batteries from all those old toys that we find and run into. We've made more in some cases from the battery that was in a 1950s or 60s vintage toy or electronic item than we did the item itself. So batteries in general have been on my radar for the past 25 plus years. The clay and art supplies have been on my radar for, geez, at least 30 years. Trade cards like the tobacco cards we have here, sports related even in that case, go back to me collecting Star Wars cards and King Kong cards in 1976 and Star Trek cards in 76, 77 as well. So, you know, these are the types of items that can make you a ton of money. These are items too, like the batteries, that I can run into at places pretty much any day of the week if I want to drive around and hit a few places. You can buy tons of these sorts of items if you know where to go. Know the type of business that marks them down when there's only a few months left on them. They don't want to end up having them in stock because in some states you can't sell this sort of thing at a full-fledged retail market. You can only sell them as secondhand items. So that's a big key for those of you wondering where you can get certain things or why these would be available. In certain areas you can't sell as a retailer, I'll say it one more time, certain items if they are out of date. Now with batteries, most people probably know the date on there isn't a huge factor. These can last for years and years and years. Chances are I'll be able to sell these fairly easily. Big lots like this go very quickly. It saves people a lot of money as well, buying them individually like that, those 6-pack, 5-pack spinners. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
When entering the world of art, you'd be smart to dress the part. Gentlemen prefer Hanes, with all the ladies draped in crepe. The artist loves the human shape. Gentlemen prefer Hanes. Hanes will make you smooth and silky, shapely, sexy. Wear a pair and you could be captured for posterity. Gentlemen prefer Hanes.